Mwinyi's legacy leaves a mark in all sectors. Good evening. Thank you very much for joining us. I am Nasa Kingo. Just a reminder, you can also follow us live via our YouTube channel, TBConline, and also get all the latest news through our Instagram, Facebook, and X pages at TBConline. We start here in Dar es Salaam, where the Vice President was a talented leader dedicated to the public service by Mario Muberu.
Hundreds of citizens led by the Vice President, Dr. Philip Mpango, are here at the Uhuru Stadium to bid farewell to the body of the former President of the United Republic of Tanzania, the late Alhaji Ali Hassan Mwinyi. Addressing hundreds of citizens, including government leaders, ambassadors, Dr. Mpango says the late Ali Hassan Mwinyi was a pool of wisdom and a school of leadership, and stressing that he made a
huge contribution during his leadership in the civil service sector. We thank God for the gift of his life. We appreciate his patriotism and the contribution he made to the development of our country, Tanzania. The late Al Hassan Mwinyi was a sheep.
He
built his reputation and purpose in the farming sector.
On his part, the former and fourth President of Tanzania, Dr. Jakaya Kikwete, says the late Ali Hassan Mwinyi was the father of the economic and political reform.
Tanzanians should remember him as a father for economic and political reforms.
Furthermore, while the CCM Vice Chairman Abdurrahman Kinana says the late Mwinyi played a crucial role in introducing the nation
with no merchandise in the shops, his personality. Along with the founding father,
so here to bid farewell to the late former President Alhaji Ali Hassan Mwinyi while on his way back to Ethiopia.
The former and second President of Tanzania, the late Ali Hassan Mwinyi, left a mark in international sphere. Spoke to the Ambassador of the United States to Tanzania, Dr. Michael Anthony Barros Sr., and the Ambassador of Canada to Tanzania, Kyle Nunes.
It was with deep sadness that we learned of the passing of the second president. He was known to be a reformer, an important transformational leader in the history of Tanzania. His visit to Canada in 1994 is fondly remembered to this day. I think that the relationship between Canada and Tanzania has only grown over the years since independence and since the late president's time in office here in Tanzania. And so, as a friend of Tanzania, as a friend of the late president, he will be sorely missed by Canadians.
And we're very proud to know that the Tanzanian government is still moving toward a multi-party democracy with free market enterprise, which shows that we're living out the mission of change that he initiated. So this is a great day of loss for Tanzania and a great day of loss for the whole African continent and indeed the world.
How mark is he left in international communities?
The mark that he left behind that we must build upon is the recognition that democracy has a role to play in the advancement of an economic system. So he was able to see the connection between democratic principles of government and free market enterprise, which brings wealth ultimately to the nation.
That's my colleague Henry Mabumo there talking to the U.S. Ambassador to Tanzania and the Canadian Ambassador to Tanzania. The former and the second President Ali Hassan Mwinyi has been described by many as a man who lived his life with humbleness and wisdom. My colleague Peter Mganga moved around to the city of Dar es Salaam to talk to the residents of the city as the country continues to mourn the death of the late Ali Hassan Mwinyi.
I heard that news. I felt sad. I felt sad because the late President Ali Hassan Mwinyi was the president that allowed free trade in our country. allowed free trade that everyone can of goods and sell them freely. And president, he became the president of Tanzania from 1985 to 1995. When he was the president, he reintroduced the multi-party system in our country again. I've learned from him that freedom is everything. People need to be free so that they can express whatever they have inside of.
That saying, Ruhusa, he allowed people to do their business.
He was hard worker. He was also believing in God. The lesson I learned from him is that we have to fulfill our duties and responsibility, but also we're supposed to have the fear of God. So if we have the fear of God, so you will work hard, but also you will ensure that you fulfill your duties and responsibilities.
He was a good leader who gave us direction to our country. So I do remember on that.
The former president and the late Ali Hassan Mwinyi is expected to be laid to rest tomorrow in Zanzibar, where, according to the funeral schedule released by the National Funeral Committee, it indicates that the day will start with taking his body to Kwabos Mosque, where the various leaders and Tanzanians will gather for prayers. Tanzanians will get another chance to bid farewell to the body of the late Ali Hassan Mwinyi at Amani Stadium later in the day, and the national leaders and other leaders attending will be given a chance to give their condolence messages. Later in the day, the family of the national leaders will give their final respect to the body, and then the body will be taken to Manga Pwani, where the final state funeral will take place at 3:40 p.m. to be followed by religious funeral. Speaking about his legacy in Zanzibar, where he served as the president in 1984, a year after becoming the president of the United Republic of Tanzania, succeeding Mwalimu Julius Nyerere. From Zanzibar, we hear from Hamid Sayed, who is the Principal Secretary, Minister of Education and Vocational Training in Zanzibar, and Asmin Alo, who is a CCM veteran member in the Isles.
Mzee Mwinyi was one among the top leaders in Tanzania who brought a lot of changes economically. As you know, Tanzania, after 1978 war, it faced different difficulties. So with the President Mwinyi leadership, he was able to open doors and windows for the economy to grow. Under his leadership, we have been also able to see how people in Zanzibar and Tanzania united better than democracy in the country. Promotion of Kiswahili language across Tanzania, and he has been advocating for the use of proper Swahili in schools and as well as the community. He was also encouraging actually the export of Kiswahili, not only in Tanzania, but in the other countries in East Africa. And he was citing that don't laugh for those who are not speaking properly. He was encouraging people and others to make sure that for those who are making mistakes, that is the stage one for the language development. They should be supported, and with the time where they can master the language. So he has done a lot for this country.
Mzee Ali Hassan Mwinyi is a very good gentleman, and I hope that all leaders will follow his steps, because he used to like a lot of people with different ages, different races, because I came to know Ali Hassan Mwinyi since when I was 18 years old. After finishing my school, actually, by knowing him, I used to call him Jomba. And every now and then I used to go to him and take some advices, and he used to give me advice, and according to his advice, that's the way I've put off till here. I have to say that Ali Hassan Mwinyi, we cannot forget him, not at all. they have to learn that the Ali Hassan Mwinyi didn't have any crashes in the heart. And that's very good. A leader who doesn't have crashes in the heart is a good leader. And I hope
Widely, the second Tanzanian president, the late Ali Hassan Mwinyi, has been praised for the economic steps that he took immediately after assuming power as president of the United Republic of Tanzania in 1985, including relaxing import restrictions and encouraging private enterprise. It was during his second term that multi-party politics were introduced. No wonder people from various sectors in the country and walks of life have something to talk about his life.
He was not only a teacher, but also a supporter and a Swahili scholar. The most important thing that I will recall now, he was a patron of the African Institute of Indigenous Knowledge Systems. The University of Dar es Salaam, through the Mwalimu Nyerere Chair in Kiswahili, requested His Excellency, now the late Ali Hassan Mwinyi, to be the patron of this institute. So we traveled together from here to South Africa to initiate and all the initiation of that institute.
Must be understood or be recalled historically, the time when Mwinyi came into power. The time was 1985, and by that time the country was so much into a lot of economic difficulties, and this was associated with one, the socialist policies, but two, there was a war between Tanzania and Uganda and the inflation and deflationary policies of the North, which made most of African countries be destabilized. So Tanzania was among that country. And because of that, the economic conditions were not so proper. And when the late came in is when actually you can understand. You couldn't speak about the development, what the late Mwinyi did without looking back into that his economic difficulties and the history of the country. So what we can see, the first one was the economic recovery programs, which together with the IMF and the World Bank, they championed. And they were in two phases from 1984, 86 to 89.
The Al-Haji Hassan Mwinyi had a very big contribution in the education sector. When you read on his book, he explained himself, described how he did for his people in the village in Zanzibar when he was there. He took initiative by himself to make sure that the people of his village gets schools.
The second president of the United Republic of Tanzania, the late Ali Hassan Mwinyi, will be remembered for the economic reforms that he undertook as president. The Minister of State, President's Office, Labor, Economy and Investment of Zanzibar, Sharif Al-Sharif. Rehemas Babili has more details.
Mimi Ali Hassan Mwinyi naapa kwamba nitakuwa mwaminifu kwa Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania.
Alhaji Ali Hassan Mwinyi, famously known as Mzee wa Ruksa, took the reign as the president of Tanzania in 1985 during the critical period that the nation needed critical economic reform. Investment of the revolutionary government of Zanzibar, Sharifu Ali Sharif, said that during that period, the Ruksa slogan was given by President Mwinyi for rescuing the situation by allowing the private sector to participate in economic activities that had been monopolized.
The economy. Then we used to have what we call disclosure, and we will always remember that because of the investment that we have in this country. Whatever we have now in terms of economic diplomacy that we have started with him. So he's a legendary on that area as well.
Some development stakeholders from the private sector of Tanzania says the late Ali Hassan Mwinyi is the one who laid the foundation of the private sector in stimulating the economic development of this nation by allowing the movement of trade and services through trade liberalization policy.
Mr. Mwinyi took over the reign of the leadership of this country while the economy had really struggled and almost collapsed. And he knew what needs to be done. And specifically, the transformation which was needed is to allow the growth of the private sector, which by the time he left, the country had already taken economy.
Because through him, he single-handed initiated establishment of the first nation. During that time, there was a meeting for Preparation Trade Area, and where the member states were supposed to have paid business leader of the day, such as Mengi and other prominent business people of that time, and had an avenue for dialogue between government and private sector.
Among the private sector institutions established under the leadership of late Mzee Mwinyi is the Chamber of Commerce, Industry and Agriculture, TBCCIA, with the aim of accelerating economic development which has existed until now. Inna lillahi Masababili, TBC News.
He was born in 1925, started his political career in 1960s. Here is his history, focusing more on his political life, narrated by Kanki Mwegomole.
Ali Hassan Mwinyi was born on May the 8th, 1925, in the Republic of Tanzania, officially entering into power in November the 5th, 1985 to 1995. Despite being born in the coastal area, Tanzania mainly aged 4 years, and namely the Quran. Ali Hassan Mwinyi, 1943 to 1944, he studied it, considered to be the highest in the area. In his book, Mzee Ruksa, The Journey of My Life, he narrates that without expectations, in 1970, he received a call from the White House by then-President Mzee Amani Abeid Karume, who told him that President's name came forward. That night, Ali Hassan Mwinyi was appointed as the Minister of State in the President's office. In his own narrative, he says, he slept as a teacher and woke up as a minister in the Union government. After holding various positions, in 1984, he was elected President of Zanzibar and Vice President in 1985. At that time, the country was going through difficult periods of economic recession and poor living conditions. Mzee Mwinyi announced the country's reforms and policies. He changed the system of socialism to independence, and now the country followed the currents of capitalist politics. In his cause, free market policies were established, as well as allowing trade with countries that had achieved two main things, as well as freedom of the media. In 1991, Mwinyi established the Nyalali Commission, which suggested establishing a multi-party political party election in Tanzania was held. The late Ali Hassan Mwinyi retired from presidency in 1995. Hassan Mwinyi will be remembered for his humor and generosity, whose mouth was filled with words of wisdom and knowledge. He has left a gift of Mzee Ruksa's book, The Journey of My Life. He passed away on February 29th while being treated at Mzena Hospital in Dar es Salaam, where he was admitted for treatment of lung cancer. May his soul rest in eternal peace. Inna ilahi wa inna ilahi rajiun.
In the legal sector, the Legal and Human Rights Center expresses condolences following the death of the former president of Tanzania, the late Ali Hassan Mwinyi, which occurred on February 29th. Speaking to TBC News, the director of LHRC, Dr. Anna Henga, says the center received the news with great sadness, as the late Ali Hassan Mwinyi was a great advocate of human rights, giving an example of when he was the Minister of Internal Affairs. He manifested maturity in leadership by resigning from his position following errors rendered by his team.
Killings which happened in northern Tanzania, and people were abused. Some were not killed, but they were injured because of him respecting issues of human rights. He resigned, and in that letter he said he didn't instruct them to kill or to abuse others' rights, but because he ought to know. He ought to know and follow up incidences in his ministry, so he was taking responsibility.
Henga adds that the late Ali Hassan Mwinyi was a transparent leader who paved ways for various systems, including free trade, paving a way for Tanzanians to import and export many products.
The opening of free market economy in Tanzania, allowing investors to come and invest, and also to allow Tanzanians to go out and invest. That falls under the right to development, the right to sustainability of the country, and also poverty alleviation for citizens.
Now, before we wind up the news bulletin tonight, we take a moment to honor the former president of the United Republic of Tanzania, the late Ali Hassan Mwinyi, by taking you back in 2012, when he was in London. And here he is emphasizing Tanzania's potentials on food sufficiency. Furthermore, he was at the forefront in religious matters, where in 2022, he was named the winner of the 2022 King Faisal Prize for Outstanding Services to Islam. And here is his son, Dr. Abdullah Mwinyi, receiving the award on his behalf, and thereafter addresses the audience. Well, both of those stories, you could find them as well on our online platforms, but do show the legacy of the late Ali Hassan Mwinyi throughout the world. Now we'll take a look at the exchange rates according to the Bank of Tanzania, to be followed by the weather forecast.
Hello viewers, my name is Joyce Makwata from Tanzania Meteorological Authority. Welcome for 24 hours weather forecasting. Starting with rainfall models, which are indicating chance of rainfall over most part of the country, as you can see from this imaging. During the night, generally we expect Lake Victoria Basin, western part, southwestern island, southern part of Morogoro, Ruvuma together with Lindi and Mtwara region to feature partly cloudy condition, thunder showers over a few areas. While over northeastern island, central, northern part of Morogoro together with the northern coast, we expect rain showers over a few areas during the night. For tomorrow, we expect Lake Victoria Basin, western part of our country, central, northeastern island, northern coast to feature partly cloudy condition, thunder showers over a few areas and sun period. While over southwestern island, southern part of Morogoro, Ruvuma, Lindi and Mtwara to feature cloudy condition, thunder showers over a few areas and sun interval. However, TMW has issued advisory concerning period of heavy rains expected over Iringa, Njombe, southern part of Morogoro, Ruvuma together with Lindi and Mtwara region. So people living on those areas are advised to take necessary precautions. Now let's have the next 4 days weather forecast. Dear viewers, that is what we have from TMW. Thanks for watching, and we wish you a good night.
And that marks the end of the news bulletin for tonight. Don't miss all the latest on the loss of the former president, the late Ali Hassan Mwinyi, right here on TBC1 and other special programs on his life and his legacy. On behalf of the whole team, I am Nasa Kingu. We wish you a good night.